Obama in her place after she steps out of line. Barack and Michelle Obama have gone completely silent on their social media accounts while traveling internationally. The former presidential couple didn't even bother to acknowledge Independence Day, a day that all Americans should recognize with pride and patriotism. In stark contrast, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump celebrated the occasion with members of the military and their families. The First Lady stood out as elegant, poised, graceful, and respectful of those who have served to protect our country's many freedoms. Melania is a remarkable First Lady. Do you agree? Congress gives nasty surprise leaves Obama bare, he's losing. It's clear that Barack Obama planned on raking in millions on the paid speaking circuit while receiving an annual $400,000 pension, but as it turns out the free ride could be over him. According to reports, Congress is preparing to introduce a bill that would stop a president's pension if they take outside income of $400,000 or more. Last year, Obama made the controversial decision to veto this bill. Recently, when he accepted $400,000 to give a speech on Wall Street, the bill's sponsors announced they would be reintroducing the measure in hopes that President Donald Trump will sign it. The Obama hypocrisy on this issue is revealing, noted Representative Jason Chaffetz, our Utah and chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. His veto was very self-serving. Chaffetz and Senator Joni Ernst are now gearing up to introduce the Presidential Allowance Modernization Act. This bill would cap presidential pensions at $200,000 and give them another $200,000 for expenses. Last summer, the bill passed both the House and Senate without issue, but Obama argued that it could have unintended consequences and impose onerous and unreasonable burdens on former presidents by requiring them to immediately release their staff and find a new place. But it's not to spot Obama's true motives behind rejecting the measure as he jet sets around the world. Fearless Marine blasts Obama right to his face. Legendary. Not long ago, Barack Obama delivered his farewell address to his hometown of Chicago. Liberals were quick to embrace his comments, taking to social media to mourn the departure of the Obamas. For the rest of us, it was a time of celebration. Many Americans have been able to see through Obama's facade and recognize the devastating impacts he has had on our country. He may be a smooth talker at times, but his plans fall apart when he attempts to put them into action. Now, one Marine has written a letter to Obama, telling him just what his legacy really is. This is your legacy, Mr. President. For the first time, I can say that I'm proud of my country. No, these aren't my words, they're the words of your wife when you took office in 2009. This set the tone for the kind of president you'd be, and the kind of legacy you left behind. Your speech to your adoring fans screaming, 4 more years. It makes for a good soundbite and video clip, but it doesn't paint the picture of the tens of millions of regular Americans that voted you in twice and gotten stabbed in the back for it. You stood in front of hundreds of veterans and promised that their lives would be better after you took office, that they would get the care that their country owed them. 8 years later, the VA is more broken than ever and my brothers and sisters in arms are committing suicide at an all-time high. You ignored the advice of wartime generals and pulled troops out of an unstable country and gave rise to ISIS, the most evil group of people on the planet. This is your legacy. Our country is twice as much in debt as it was when you took office, to the tune of nearly $20 trillion. That number is so large that it may as well be monopoly money, and the only people that are footing the bill are our children, the ones that you cut off at the knees by taking millions in donations from bloated teachers' unions. You know, the ones who hire teachers who can't teach and can't be fired. This is your legacy. You said that America became stronger, but all you did was apologize to corrupt world leaders and made deals with radical Muslims who want us and our allies in Israel to be wiped off the map. You downplayed terrorist attacks as workplace violence, and used national tragedies to trample on the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. You legitimized the hateful Black Lives Matter movement and gave them the ability to poison the minds of our inner-city youth, then stood on the graves on the officers that lost their lives as a result and had the audacity to lecture grieving police officers about race relations. This is your legacy. You said Middle America clings to God and guns, while you waged war on both. You tried to pass yourself off as a Christian, while telling radical Muslim nations that practice Sharia law that you stand with them. This is your legacy. You spoke about Obamacare being a force for good, but don't have the common sense to realize that holding a gun to the heads of people who work for a living, to pay for the ones that don't, makes everyone worse off. Making it illegal for people not to have coverage is exactly the kind of socialism that conservatives warned about before you got into office. You dismissed these claims as conspiracy theories, but now we have regular, healthy families having to pay tens of thousands of dollars for the bare minimum of healthcare. This is your legacy. Before you were elected, you made the case that the first black president would be a milestone for this country. 8 years later, you're standing on the podium, saying, "Yes, we did," like you've accomplished something other than playing a record amount of golf as the country gets ready for its second great recession. This is your legacy. What may come as a surprise to you and the rest of the now far left pundits that run the media is, the color of your skin never mattered to America. It was the policies that attracted Americans, the decency and unity that you said you'd restore to this nation, and it was the betrayal of these ideas which gave us an actual outsider, and the person that you failed to stop, Donald Trump. Your presidency was a wake-up call for America. You will be the president that will be remembered by those too young to know any better, not as a champion and protector of our rights and Constitution, but as a celebrity. Everything you've done to this country over your 8 years will be wiped from the history books, and your legacy, as much as it hurts right now, will be nothing more than a distant memory. I wish you farewell, and I'm hopeful for the future of my country, which just proved that it deserves someone better than you. Disrespectful snowflakes who walked out on Pence get hit with bad news. On Sunday, a group of rebellious Notre Dame University students walked out of their own graduation ceremony as Vice President Mike Pence delivered the commencement address. It didn't take long for this disrespectful display to come back and bite the liberal grads in a major way. Shortly after the event made headlines, Chad Prather fired back at the students with words they aren't likely to forget anytime soon. Employers, go find the video of college grads at Notre Dame walking out on the vice president's commencement speech. Remember their faces and don't make the mistake of hiring them, Prather wrote. As a boss, you will do and say things they disagree with and their feelings will be hurt. This is how they respond to disappointment. I have a strong feeling they will be experiencing a lot of it in the years to come. Prather went on to claim that this is the product of a generation that was never really taught the principles of respect or properly disciplined. This little juvenile protest demonstrates the fact that this generation has never been held accountable with consequences from their actions, he concluded. If one of my kids walked out on Joe Biden in that fashion, there would have been hell to pay. Believe that. Several prominent names, like Tomi Lahren, took notice of Prather's claims and agreed with them. What do you think? Do you agree with Prather's message? Obama gives warning to all Americans. According to Barack Obama, too much patriotism is bad for minorities. In a speech in Indonesia, the former president recently warned that sectarian politics could lead to chaos and violence. Obama went on to say that some countries have adopted an aggressive kind of nationalism and increased resentment of minority groups. It's been clear for a while that the world is at a crossroads. At an inflection point, Obama said, explaining how much the capital of Jakarta has improved since he lived there as a child. But the increased prosperity has been accompanied by new global problems, ranging from inequality to terrorism. If we don't stand up for tolerance and moderation and respect for others, if we begin to doubt ourselves and all that we have accomplished, then much of the progress that we have made will not continue, he said. What do you think of Obama's comment? Popular restaurant demands veterans remove flag and leave. Let's boycott. Recently, A Dave and Buster's restaurant in Grantville, Michigan demanded that military veterans Victor Murdoch and Adrienne Brown of the American Legion Riders Post 179 either remove their vests or leave the establishment. The vests reportedly depicted the American flag, a bald eagle, and the prisoner of war flag, but the restaurant's management claimed the patches promoted gang-related symbols. The group was asked to remove the jackets or turn them inside out because the business dress code prohibits evidence of gang affiliation, Dave and Buster's said in a statement. Spokeswoman April Spearman said the policy was in place to ensure that everyone is able to enjoy themselves in a fun and safe environment. The American Legion is known as one of the most respected veterans organizations in the United States. It has been around since 1919 and is far from a gang. Instead, it has been working to make life better for veterans. Conservatives have decided to boycott the restaurant until they apologize for this major misstep. Do you agree that the restaurant needs to apologize?